National and International News Digest, Nepal, the 24th of September 2025. Nepal National News, Nepal, caretaker government under pressure after protests. Nepal's interim Prime Minister, Sushila Karki, appointed after the fall of the previous government, is navigating a highly volatile political environment. She has pledged to address the root causes of the youth-led protests, particularly corruption, joblessness, and accountability failures. But her ability to govern is challenged by pushback from entrenched political figures, including KP Sharma Oli and Sher Bahadur Juba. Investigation into violence during protests. The interim administration has formed a panel to probe the violence that erupted during the anti-corruption protests, which left approximately 74 people dead and injured thousands. The panel, headed by retired Judge Gauri Bahadur Karki, is mandated to investigate police actions, extrajudicial killings, and vandalism over the next 3 months. Preparation for elections. On March 5, 2026, PM Karki recently met with Election Commission officials to discuss preparations for the upcoming general elections, emphasizing that the process must be free, fair, and impartial. However, analysts warn that lingering distrust, political instability, and resistance from old guard politicians may delay or complicate the electoral timeline. Other domestic developments. Cholera outbreak in Burganj. The number of infected has risen to approximately 240, and health authorities are struggling to pinpoint the source. Security seizure in Kathmandu. Police arrested 2 individuals found carrying 7 pistols and ammunition in the city. Gold price surges. In a volatile economic moment, gold reached a record high of NPR 221,700 per tola. Border trade disruptions. The Tatopani and Kering border crossings with China remain closed, affecting imports for the Dashan festival. Globe regional and international geopolitical news. India, neighbors, global. Nepal is a geopolitical pivot between India and China. Nepal's recent political upheaval is being closely watched by both India and China. With the ouster of the Oli government, widely seen as China-aligned, some analysts view the shift as a potential opening for India to re-engage more assertively in Nepal's strategic affairs. Meanwhile, Nepal's position as a land bridge between the two rising powers continues to be discussed in diplomatic and economic terms, with calls for Nepal to move from being a buffer to a bridge in regional connectivity. Protests and generational change in South Asia. The upheaval in Nepal mirrors a broader pattern in South Asia, where youth movements and discontent with corruption, governance, and economic stagnation are increasingly influential. In Nepal's case, the so-called Gen Z protests were triggered by a social media blackout and perceived suppression, but they quickly morphed into a broader demand for accountability and structural reform. India-Nepal ties under scrutiny. The political changes in Nepal may recalibrate India's posture in its neighborhood policy. India must balance its strategic interests with respecting Nepal's sovereignty and internal dynamics. Analysts suggest any re-engagement must be cautious to avoid perceptions of interference. Border issues, trade, hydropower projects, and infrastructure connectivity remain key vectors where Indo-Nepal relations will be tested. Global context and external watchers across the world, shifts in regional balances, India's rise, China's assertiveness, and the fragility of smaller states, are under close observation. Strategic analysts view Nepal's turmoil as a microcosm of how domestic discontent interacts with global power competition. There's also growing discourse in commentary circles about whether such upheavals could invite external influence, though many caution that in Nepal's case, the uprising was fundamentally driven by internal frustrations rather than foreign design. If you found this report informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay connected with the world as it unfolds. Your support helps us continue delivering the news that matters most. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a beat. Stay informed, stay empowered, stay with the World Report.